All right, it looks like we are live. Just a minute past here. I was getting last minute stuff set up, so we'd be all ready to go. But good morning, everybody. Give it a few minutes for it to catch up so I can make sure everything is working like it should. And there it is. I love that little momentary delay that always makes you wonder if it's actually working or not. Good morning, everybody. I see lots of people are waiting. Is everyone excited to see more of our upcoming press plate release? I think we're all pretty excited about that. So I'm excited to show a little more of it. I know Leah did an awesome sneak peek last week. I kind of watched, Kinnari was moderating, but I was still kind of lurking in the background and watching that come together. At that point last week, I was still waiting for my plates to come. So I hadn't even gotten them in hand to play with yet. So mine came Friday. It was holiday weekend. So really, I did break them open a little bit on the weekend and I've just kind of played with them a little bit. So just like with Leah, they're still kind of fresh and new for me. So kind of learning as I go along, but I found kind of a fun way to use them and a little bit of a technique-y idea, if that's a word, technique-y, I don't know. A fun technique, we'll just put it that way. So something that I'm going to kind of show you that I was excited, the idea kind of popped in my head and I was like, well, let's see if it works. And it did. So kind of a fun, different way to use these. And I just love the elegance of Betterpress plates and just the look you get and how fancy they are. So yes. All right. So this release, real quick, because we're sneak peeking, I'm using some other items from previous releases, but the new press plates that I'm showing, those don't release for almost 2 weeks. December 11th is our release date. So just as we're going along, if you start to go, well, where can I find these? Where can I buy them? Not quite yet. We started, I know it feels mean to start sneak peek so early, but we're just so excited with this because it's a new item for us. We haven't done press plates before. Press plates are kind of they're not a new thing, but they're kind of being revitalized when Spellbinders released the Betterpress machine this year. So we're kind of just wanting to kind of get them out there a little bit before the release happens so that by the time it gets out and you get them in your hand, there's some ideas and some inspiration kind of out there. So sorry for the mean tease. I promise that it's done with the best of intentions. So a couple things before we get started. I've been stalling here to make sure everybody can find us and get on here. But as I mentioned, most of the new stuff I'm using today hasn't released yet. We got little less than 2 weeks to wait. Everything else that I'm using, inks, coordinating or not coordinating, but standalone dies and that kind of thing. Those are all linked in the video description down below. So you can always find those. I'll try and name them pretty well as we go along also. Leah is in the chat behind the scenes today. So any questions you have that I miss as we start going along, she will catch those. Today we're not super busy. These are just going to be kind of going through the new. So I imagine I won't be doing too bad keeping up with comments, but for sure, Leah will do a good job of getting those. Leah will also pick a winner at the end of this live to win a $15 gift card. The way you enter for that is just what everyone's doing over there already. Just leave lots of comments and questions in the chat. You can ask questions if you have them. If someone asks a question, feel free to answer it if you know the answer. All of that is just an entry that she'll pick from those. One other way you can win, we love if you share this video. It can be in an email or a private message to a friend, a crafty friend, or someone that you're trying to hook into crafting. And maybe it'll be something you can be like, come check this out and see why I love what I do. So that's always an option as well. You can also share it on your social media pages, or if you're part of a crafty group and you know it's allowed to share outside links inside the group, those are great places to share those as well. And then once you've shared, come back and just leave us another comment letting us know you shared. And then that's another entry into today's giveaway. One final thing we really appreciate, it doesn't necessarily count as an entry in the giveaway, but we'd love if you're enjoying this video, if you hit that thumbs up button down below the video. It just kind of helps our reach, helps more people find us, so we can keep growing our fun little crafty group here on our Tuesday and Thursday mornings. I think that's covering everything. So I think we're ready to switch the camera around and get a little peek at today's set. I'm going to take one more sip of my tea. Leah will recognize this is my beautiful new cup when I visited her in Minnesota. Um, they gifted this to me. I brought it home. Her husband actually made this cup. Isn't it beautiful? It's my new favorite. So anyway, I just thought I would pop that out since that was kind of a fun little thing I brought home. But I'm going to switch the camera around and let's go ahead and start getting crafty today. All right. Here is, I've got my little press plate part here. You already saw our sentiment set. Excuse me. Swallowed that tea wrong. Our sentiment set last week, Leah used one of these for her live last week. I'm going to be sharing one of the beautiful new florals, which incidentally is illustrated by our very own Emily Midget. She's on our design team, our video design team. I'm sure you'll be seeing some beautiful projects with this set from her in the near future. So we're going to use this beautiful floral today. So one thing to note, Betterpress plates, the paper that they work on is either cotton or which Spellbinders sells, or our watercolor paper that I will be using today. Hold on, let me grab that. Just realized I left the packaging out of reach. Because all of those papers have texture to them, we don't have coordinating stencils to these because the paper is not conducive to ink blending. So they are going to work, obviously, if you do them on watercolor paper, it's perfect for watercolor. I also really just love the elegant look that you get with the letterpress, just simple. It's perfect for note cards. And the design I'm going to show you today would be pretty easy to recreate in a full set, in a full rainbow. And you could just have lots of options for gifts, for keeping on hand, like for thank you notes or invitations, just for sending out notes to people. I think they're going to be really great for that. Maybe gifting for your non-card making friends. You can make card sets with them. They're just going to be really beautiful for that. So let's go ahead. I've already got a piece of this cardstock. I just trimmed them down into quarters to get panels. And because it is, I want to say it's 9 by 12, it's a little bigger than an 8.5 by 11, which works perfect because it gives me a little wiggle room. It makes it a little bit bigger on my sheet. So I have room to work and then trim down. So, but this, so our watercolor paper, just a note on that, it is not releasing in December with the press plates. We've got new liquid watercolors coming soon. So this is going to release sometime early next year. We're shooting for January. That can always change. We know how that goes. But we're going to go ahead and be sharing projects using it so you can kind of start to see it in action in advance. But it's going to be really fun when our watercolors come out to use these together as well. All right, so first things first, I'm going to start with this beautiful rose. It is called Beautiful Roses. Literally the name of it. I kind of forgot that when I was thinking of it. So the technique I'm going to show you today, and this is what I was kind of excited about, is I found out you can double, like layered letterpress. So I'm going to do this beautiful floral on here. And then when all is said and done, I'm going to do my sentiment just kind of right in the middle of this here. So I'll show you here as we get going. But let's go ahead and get started on this first. I'm going to use Cherry Blossom ink. So I have my beautiful set of ink cube holders, or my ink cube holder with all of my beautiful ink cubes. And I'll pop this open here real quick. Did I just close it? I did. I had it open to save myself time and then I closed it. That's really funny. Okay, got the right way. So let's just pop this open here. I'm going to use our new Cherry Blossom. And you can use the full-size ink. I find the little bit of experience I've had here now, which to be fair isn't a lot. I found that the ink cube's a little easier because I'm not as likely to get ink smeared somewhere that I don't want. Before I do this here, we're going to tape this in place on that top plate. So the Betterpress machine, when it comes, you get this little roll of yellow tape, which is perfect. You only need little teensy tiny bits. And I found it's less is more. A little teensy tiny bit in the corner just to hold it in place. And again, because this is slightly larger than that A2, you can kind of see how I just centered it around that A2 panel. You could trim these right to A2. I like that extra wiggle room because then if I place something where I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I hadn't put that there, it makes it a little bit easier for me to fix that. All right, so again, you have the choice of the full size. We've tested and we were pretty excited that our inks work with the Betterpress, which opened a lot more possibilities. Let's see, I'm just gonna check. Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything important on the comments. All right, and yes, I saw Leah said something about their metal with a special coating so the ink will work. Leah and I just randomly decided to test out on our hot foil plates and just see if we could, and the ink got all blotchy, it didn't work. So you definitely want that special coating. Press plates are a little different in that sense than your average hot foil plate. Now, and I know some people have said they've had luck with spellbinders with Betterpress plates and hot foiling. So it works, but we're not kind of clear to recommend that yet because we obviously haven't had these very long. We don't know what the long-term effects are. So if you decide to hot foil with them, it's kind of at your own risk. We just don't know what it's going to do to that coating over time. So something to be aware of too, because I know a lot of people have talked about that. So wanted to make sure we made that clear. All right, so I'm gonna come on here and I know you can kind of do, I think the way Spellbinder shows is a little dab and twist. I don't want to get any fuzz on there. I've actually found just like a little bit of a gentle, just kind of a swirl almost works best for me. And then it's not, I feel like it's not as hard on the ink pad because I'm just kind of setting it down and doing a little gentle circular. So I'm not jamming it down because I don't want to beat up the surface of my ink cubes. And then I'm just looking to make sure that I've got a good coating over everything. And then we're going to go ahead. We're going to set this over the top. And I'm going to pull my file binders, Platinum 6 up, and we'll just roll this through and check out the magic. All right. Put that out of the way again for us. We'll need to bring that back in a moment. But let's check that out. Look at that beautiful impression. I wish you guys could see or feel that texture that you get, but it's such a beautiful, intricate, and I love it with that soft, again, that's the cherry blossom ink. You just get such a beautiful color, even with that soft ink and all of that detail so well preserved. Okay, I'm gonna clean this off in a minute, but before I do that, I'm gonna grab my sentiment, and I'm gonna use There's Something Good in Every Day. I'm not sure how the scripty ones, I haven't tested it with those yet. So I wanted to pick a little more of a solid image. And I'm kind of planning where I want to put this. I want it a little bit, just kind of below the center there. So as I can see, I really want this centered on that grid because I can't stack those, of course. So I'm going to want to lift one off and I'm going to make sure that's centered there and lined up so it's straight. And because this is magnetic, it's going to hold it in place really well. And then we'll be all set to go. I'm going to set that aside again. I will clean that in a few minutes. But let's go ahead. I'm going to ink this up because I really want this to be crisp and pop over the top of our floral there. So I'm going to use Detail Black ink, which incidentally, if you want to do watercolor techniques, our Detail Black is the one you want to use. So I'm just going to make sure I've got that nice and inked up in the same little gentle swirling motion for me. I'm going to set this over the top, being careful not to press it down. Bring my die cut machine back. And then let's run this through. Move this out of the way again. Deb Schroeder, I believe the press plate's the same size as the Glimmer base, according to the Spellbinder's website. So, all right, look at that. It worked perfectly again. I only tested it the one time yesterday, so my fingers were a little bit crossed, making sure that this would work. So I was super excited when I tried that yesterday, and it successfully did it. And you don't lose, because the only spot that's applying pressure is right where you're doing the sentiment. You don't lose, it didn't flatten out any of the letterpress design on the rest of the florals. It just layered right over the top and gives just a really elegant one layer look to that. I love it. Okay, let me really fast here. Now I haven't done a whole lot of cleaning of these, but I think just a little bit of water is probably going to be all I'm going to need right now, because these are going to clean off pretty easily. Seems to work pretty good. I did yesterday on some of them, I was using rubbing alcohol. I haven't checked to see if that's safe or not. Maybe Leah can chime in if she's researched that at all. Again, this is kind of new to me as well, so I'm figuring that out as I go. All right, so both of these sets, of course, have coordinating dies. Because we did this as a one layer, we're not going to use those coordinating dies this time, because I'm going to keep that as that one layer look and design. But yes, I was exactly thinking that this would be a beautiful set of note cards. So that's kind of something that I think would be super fun to do. All right, so my plan here, moving on, now that we have, hold on, I just got to show you that again. That beautiful letterpress design there. Yes, as a wedding invitation, and you could just put your other info on the inside. I think that would be a great idea. Or for a bridal shower or anything like that. So many fun possibilities. All right, so I have some things kind of ready to go here. I'm going to use the Ornate banner to cut this out, because again, I don't want to lose the design that I created already with. And I'm seeing here, I probably could have, we're going to be okay. I should have maybe moved the design slightly up a little in this, but it's good enough. I kind of have another one I did, but I don't think it's going to cut off that rose at the bottom. So I'm not overly concerned there. Let's grab die cut plates. Angela, no, when you die cut it, you don't. I'm going to be die cutting it here, and I've had great luck with not losing that texture that you get from the impression. Okay, let me make sure I've got this square and even lined up. All right, let's tape that down. And if that cuts off a little, I've got something that we're covering up, so I'm not too worried about. All right, I will be right back with this. Oh, perfect. It cut exactly where I was hoping. So there's our beautiful banner die cut. Now, while I've still got those banners out, I've got a little more of our white glitter cardstock. Now, right now, this is the Glacier glitter cardstock that we're releasing this month. This color is available. I linked it below in the holiday sparkle pack. You get 2 sheets of the white along with the gold and the red and green and silver, I believe. So I'm going to use a little bit of that, excuse me, to create the frame effect to go around this. So for this one, I need that outer die as well as the inner die. So we're going to use those together. I need a little bigger piece of tape there to hold these down though. So we're going to layer these in there together. A little bit bigger piece of tape to make sure I can tape it down onto my plate. All right. Tape across there and across there. And I'm going to go die cut this and be right back. Let's save that tape and then we can use that for any other die cutting, whether now live or later. Figure that out. Okay, done with that. Now we are going to do one more little bit of die cutting, but let's take a little peek at how that looked. And also, can I just note, I didn't use any shims or anything. Look at how beautifully that glitter paper die cut. It was crisp and perfect. And I actually have a perfect frame on there. I might hang on to that to use on another card because that would almost make a fun little frame around something. So don't waste. And of course, that inner banner, we definitely want to save that as well. All right, but this one, it would go right around and frame that lovely banner, how we can see right there. Isn't that pretty? Okay. So there's that. Now we need the card base. I did prepare this one in advance, or I trimmed, this is just a panel. This is some soft pink cardstock that just coordinates really well with that pink tone that we have in there. Even without that glitter frame, it's just so elegant and beautiful, but I feel like that glitter frame is just going to pop up to the next level, add a little bit of dimension and some fun texture. So kind of excited to do that. So let's add some texture to our card base. We could just do that on a plain card base, but I thought the dotted chevron would be about the right size. I always like to kind of lay it over, and as you can see, you just get a tiny bit of texture behind, and look how perfectly those chevrons kind of fit around the bottom of that banner. So I'm gonna get that. Because these have no outer cutting plate, we've started doing our cover plates that way. So other than our very first ones, most of them have this design, you can cut them directly onto your card base. And it's not going to cut it in half, so then you can kind of fold it and just have a beautiful bit of texture on. And I'm going to just tape this in place, tiny bit of tape, mostly on the plate, just so it doesn't shift while we go through the die cut machine. And then I will be right back with this once I run it through. Okay. Get this peeled off now. Carefully. I just like to be really gentle when I'm going through the die cut machine. It holds down really well, so I don't want to peel my paper up. All right, so now I've got that beautiful texture. We just need to score our card base, and then we'll be ready to use that for our card. So let's get on here. Score that at the 5.5. And then we'll crease that. And then I always notice, not always, but sometimes you get a little tiny bit, depending on the paper and how perfectly it's trimmed. Sometimes you get a little extra poking through. So sometimes I just like to, I'm not skilled enough with scissors to brave doing it with scissors, but paper trimmer, absolutely. Oh yeah. You know what, Sandra, sometimes I do score it first, but I feel like sometimes I end up getting it in that nook and cranny. So I like to use the cover plate more often than not, and then crease and score and fold it afterwards. So I hope you can see that fun little bit of texture on our pink there. Deb, I don't remember the exact number of how many press plate sets, but 10 or 11 roughly is what comes to mind. So, oh, hey, look at, and then right as I said that, Leah posted 10. That was a pretty good guess. I'm going to call that a good lucky guess. All right, so now we need to get some layers on here, get some foam, get a little bit of dimension, of course. Pull out some foam strips here and get started getting some of those on the back of these. I have to pull out another pack of foam strips. I'm noticing I'm kind of running low on these, oddly enough. Not like I ever use them. Right, and then of course, once you pull off the foam backing, you can curve those around to fit on your card a little bit better, which is a great tip that I love. All right, cut that little tiny bit off there. Need a tiny little bit in that little section. And then I'm going to grab another one of those. There, and then I'm not sure yet. I'm leaving a little tiny opening there because I think I want to did I use all that? I think I did. Want to add perhaps a little bit of a bow or something up there. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of space there. We might not do that, but it's not going to be noticeable if I don't put foam in that little spot there. So, and then it'll make it a little easier to slide it in. I'm thinking about I have just like some little mini paper clips and sliding that in and tying a bow on it. So see what happens when we get to that part. But for now, let's pull off this backing and get it layered up over the top. Bo Gilmore, you know what? I'm not sure. I imagine you probably could. So I know you can dry emboss with hot foil plates. And if you can hot foil with these, as some people have done, again, we're not sanctioning that yet until we know the long-term results, then I would imagine you could still. The other thing I noted in the little bit of testing that we did, okay, got that popped on there with a little bit of foam for dimension. If you use the Betterpress, the machine and the plates and the inks and everything, if you use it on just like your normal cardstock, because you have to have either the cotton, the watercolor, something that's, I think it has something to do with the texture of the paper that allows it to press and get the impression and then leave the ink in there as well. But if you use it on just your normal white, like we used it on hammer mill cardstock, you still get like the effect of a stamped impression just without the indentation and the texture. The letterpress part of it, it just gives you kind of a stamped image. So it is another way to use them as well if you wanted to do it on like paper that's a little more friendly for Copic markers or coloring or something like that. All right, I want a little bit more dimension still. I don't want to make it super crazy and a whole nother thick layer. So I'm gonna pull out, I have some thinner foam adhesive. I don't know if you can kind of see. This is from Simon Says Stamp. It's called the Big Mama foam tape roll. Let me see if I can pull these off and you can kind of see. I don't know if that really shows the difference in the dimension. Hold on, this might do it a little bit better. I don't know millimeter wise what the difference is, but I would say it's about half as thick as the normal Scotch foam tape. So I'm just going to use this so I get a little bit of dimension, but not a full on second layer. So it's going to be like 1.5 layers of foam tape. And by all means, do the second layer if you want to. Again, if you were doing this as like a note card set to put in the mail or something like that, you might want to stick with, less dimension. And by doing this technique, with the double layer, it does save you an extra layer for the sentiment and everything as well. All right, I'm gonna finish putting one more layer on here. Get that peeled off and pop that on there. As thin as the thin film squares, it might be, I've heard everyone. I can send you a link later, but I know if you go to Simon Says Stamp and just search Big Mama, I also have it linked in a lot of my blog posts. I don't know if that helps, but okay. Let's get this popped on here. Look at that. So beautiful. Okay. Let's see if my little idea for tying a little bit of a bow up in this corner is going to work. I'm going to grab one of those little paper clips that I had. Really stiff, and I don't want to ruin my glitter paper. There we go. Let's see how this looks. And this is just some Mayart's jute string. Any ribbon or twine or string, whatever your favorite, would work just fine for this. Pull off. Good piece of it. I like twine, so I usually buy it in the big rolls like that. So I think this would be pretty with like a shimmery, maybe like a silver silver thread or something too would be really lovely. I'm going to try and attach this. I don't know if I'm going to want this double layer or not, so. I actually think, you know what? I think if I do this, I'm only going to want one layer. I know I pulled off the double layer there, but let's undo that little knot that I got on there. It's another good use for the embellishment tool. I'm going to throw that out. I've untangled many a necklace because it's not super pokey and you can get that little rounded point in there. And when necklaces kind of get jammed up and you know how they get tangled when they're really fine like that, it's a really good fix for those. So, or untying knots in twine that you don't want to waste. All right, let's see how this looks with a nice loose bow on there. Okay, and I already love that. I think that's exactly what it needed. Bounce that twine a little bit around there. Fiddle with the bow a little. Try to get that bow just right, don't you know? Really spend way too long working on that. I'm actually going to leave that just at the bottom. I'm just going to move it up. All right, that little bit of a ribbon there on that corner is such a pretty touch. And yes, I know Leah just said on there, it is impossible to show that texture, even with that high def, like you need Petrovision. I wish there was such a thing as that. So, all right, now, you know what, there's one thing, of course, we always need, finishing touch. And I'm dragging this out as long as I can, but I think I've sort of stretched out as long as possible here on this. So let's take a little time and add some bling on here, and then maybe we'll test out real quick because we have a little time to spare. Maybe we'll do another one of these roses in a different color and try one of the more scripty sentiments and see how it looks in the two layers like that, since we have a little extra time. All right, so I've got some, I didn't check the bling to see if these were in stock. Hopefully they were. It was kind of a last minute add-on this morning. So I've either got Glacier, sparkly drops, or champagne. And I think either one would work, but I feel like the little pop of neutral color with the champagne is going to be a good choice on here. So I'm going to aim for that for now, and then we'll see how it looks when we get it on there. So what I'm thinking here. Okay, and I just saw something on there that I need to mention as well. We are also, when this release goes live, we are also going to be carrying the Betterpress machines and some of their paper and their inks as well. So throwing that out there, that if you don't have it or you kind of want to pick it all up at the same time, that's going to be something we're going to have available and be offering. Okay, let's see if this works here. This idea of popping a little bit of bling here in the corner. I don't know if it's going to work like I'm imagining, but I'm going to give it a try. Oop, look at that. I might rearrange that a little bit. So actually don't know. I'm going to slide. I'm going to try something here real quick. Might just go in a line over here. So nope, I don't think I love that either. Take a couple off of here and see. We might just do it either like this, or I might just do some little trios. I haven't fully determined yet. Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards more a little trio of, I think that's going to be more what I want here. Yep. I think this is, yep, this is going to be what we want on this. Had to see it the other way to decide. But yep, I like that much better. This is definitely one that needs the little trios and not all in a tight little row like that. Okay, let's get these adhered down. I guess we need the proper side there. Here's my glue. There it is. It's like, are we going to clog on me? Felt like it was there for a minute. Last one there. The lid in that, and then get this cleaned up and put away before I spill it. And then let's pop that up one last time so you can kind of see. I have to fill with that bow a little bit more. Okay. So there is, I really wish you guys could feel that texture that you get and how elegant that is. Since we have a few minutes and we're still a little bit early, let's just pick another color. Let's grab another panel. And let's try this double layer with one of the more scripty sentiments, just for fun to see what happens. I'm just kind of curious, so I want to see what it looks like. So let's pick another color. If I do it, there it is. I'm thinking I'm gonna try, let's try another nice soft color. Let's do Sun Kiss. I think that will be lovely. I'm gonna pull out my ink cubes again. Bye, Roxanne. I see you have to take off. I just realized hold on. I put this one in completely backwards, so let's fix that real fast. I have them all from light to dark, and that one was just switched. So yeah, I think Sunkissed would be would be lovely. Let's give that a try. Do our usual tape it all in place. I've still got my little pieces of tape as well. So I'm going to reuse those. And then we're going to pop this on the center there. Let's give this a go. We love to experiment and play, so of course. I'm realizing this might be a little bit of a darker color, but we'll see. I mean, it's still fairly light, and it is going to soften as it dries, so but we'll give it a go. Okay. I'm excited just to see this floral in another color anyway. Oh, so pretty. That definitely is a really bold looking color right now. Oh, and let's not take that off. I just remembered. All right, we're going to set that out of the way to clean in a minute. But let's pick what would be a good sentiment. Let's maybe do, what do we think about maybe the thank you? Then it's not so much, it's one of the bigger, just bolder ones. I think that would be a great spot to start. And I should have left the plate on there. So we're just going to kind of center it. I meant to leave that on and kind of have a plan for where I wanted to put it. So it's just going to be where it's going to be. It'll be overlapped. Like I said, this is kind of just a test and experiment real quick. So let's get a little bit of that detailed black over the top of that. And here goes the moment of truth. Okay, excited to see what this looks like. All right, well, that worked. I definitely think I like the more solid sentiment better, and also a little bit over the softer colored ink, I think is a better better impression on that. So in my opinion, I think I would stick with more of these solid ones for now. And later down the line, as we come out with more solid sentiments, I imagine that will provide more opportunities for techniques like that. So, and this one might have looked better if it was a really soft color like ballet slipper, lemon whip. In fact, even like warm buff to have just like a really neutral look, I think would be cool. But it was fun to test and see. So you never know unless you try. So, but I definitely, I'm loving the other one definitely more than that. So I said a little more time, and I want to give it a, I'm not going to do it now because we've kind of reached our, I think we've reached a pretty good time to start winding down and picking a winner for today. Let me move this out of the way before I clean this off. Yeah, these definitely clean off really nice and easy. And a little bit of water seems to do the trick really well. The detail black might need a little extra. Not quite sure there. I am gonna do a little rubbing alcohol on that one. And like Leah just said too, that's really great too. If it was just slightly overlapping the image with the sentiment, I think that would be definitely work a little bit better as well. Yeah, and again, I think if it was much more of a solid, and yes, on this one, Vicki, I do very much agree. I think this one, in fact, I probably won't waste this. What I will do is I will probably do that sentiment and die cut it and just pop it right over the top of that, and no one will be the wiser. So this isn't going to go to waste. This isn't a lost cause. So have no fear, this isn't going in the trash, but I will definitely pop it up over there the right way and make it work a little bit different. So Oh, for the Betterpress ink, that's good to know. Card everyone. I didn't realize that. So just checking any last comments there. Louise, we will be back. I think Leah and I will actually be doing a combined sneak peek live next week. It'll be more the official one before the actual release happens. So keep an eye out next week for that, and we will definitely have some more good sneak peeks then. And yes, detail black is a little harder. I'm sure stamp cleaner would work. I've cleaned them a few times with rubbing alcohol. I don't imagine there's anything in that that should damage those, but I'm going to research a little bit to be sure about that before I commit. It's saying that that's a good idea, but it hasn't done anything to any of mine. So here's one more look at that beautiful letterpress design that we created today. And December 11th, Wendy, that is correct. And I know we're winding down a couple minutes early, but I really don't have anything else for you. So I think I'm just gonna switch the camera around and give Leah a few minutes to announce a winner. And also, if anyone has any final questions that they would like answered, this is a great time to ask those. Let's see, Emily, to sign up for notifications on lives. If you sign up for emails on our website, I believe that there's somewhere in there where you can set your preferences for email, but Leah will be able to answer that one a little bit better. So I will leave that one to her to give the final answer on. I'll sip my little bit of tea. Yes, I love the glitter paper, Vicky. Yes, Lee, enabling. And Steve, why? You know what? I was on the fence for a while with the Betterpress. I kept looking at and kind of going, okay, I like it, but it's one more thing. And then of course, when we decided to come out with Betterpress, then I needed to get it. And I am in love with it already. I feel like it's just a really simple way to get some added elegance and everything as well. Let's see. Directions on robbing a bank. I have no experience in that, so I will have to let you look elsewhere for that one. Momful of Joy, yes, we are releasing more glitter stock. That's going to be part of the same release, the full set of all the colors. And I see today's winner is Kimberly B. You are today's $15 gift card winner. Congratulations, and thank you for joining us today. Email Leah at pinkfreshstudio.com. You need to give her 2 to 3 days to get back to you to claim that. But send an email with your info. Her name is just Leah. There's no H on the end. And I think that's everything we have for you guys today. This week we should have a scrapbook live, I'm pretty sure, because I know we didn't last year, or last year. We didn't last week because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So I'm pretty sure we have that this week. So I should see you on Thursday in the comments. I don't remember who it is, so it'll be a surprise for me, but it's either Kathleen or Natalie, and they will have a fun project for you. So hopefully we see you there, and there's another chance to win a $15 gift card as well. So it's definitely worth checking that out. All right, thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you on Thursday in the comments. And then don't forget, next Tuesday should be Leah and I both together to do another big sneak peek of the Betterpress release. So hope to see you then. Bye, everyone.